you can see, it's extra bubbly now. I just poured it. So now we just take our yeast and I just kind of sprinkle it all over the place. Make sure it gets in there. They'll rehydrate themselves. Probably not tomorrow, but for sure Sunday we'll see major activity from the yeast. And then here's our airlock. Just set this over here. Take our cap. Put it on. It's a little hard. Let's make sure it's all the way on there. And looks like we're sealed. Let's grab our airlock, which I sanitized, and then put it in the hole. You can already tell there's pressure in there just by pushing on it. So that'll just bubble, and basically what that purpose is to not allow outside air in, because that'll allow bacteria to grow. So what we're going to do, the yeast are going to produce CO2 that's going to come out of the water, but won't let any air back in. So it's really a pretty ingenious fucking idea. Like I said, after those yeast rehydrate, and they'll start producing carbon dioxide and eat the sugars in there and basically piss out alcohol and fart out CO2, and that's how you get your carbonated alcoholic thing called beer. It's great deal. Alright, so he's in his home next to two of his brothers. The third brother over there, which you really can't see because he's in a carboy, glass carboy, but we have an extra pale ale that I made up over there. That back one is a dry stout, it's called. That's a Scottish 80 shilling beer. The cream ale, and then we have a Stella Artois outside in the fridge lagering. So we should have a pretty good surplus of beer pretty soon. Let's keep the cycle going, and then you never have to go to the beer store again. It's awesome. Alright, so I took it out of the fridge. It wasn't quite to 62 degrees, but it was 76 degrees. We're at 1048. There's a math thing you can do, but I don't do that. I just look on the internet for a calculator. It goes out to be 1050, so we were 10 above our 1040, which is great because I bought an extra pound and a half of grain. Just because I don't like too light of beers, so I like to add a little bit of extra, and plus it helps just in case you screw up a little bit, so you can get your gravity that you're looking for, because you don't want it even less, because if it was 1032, that would suck. But, like I said, we're at 1050 final gravity, or starting gravity rather. Hydrometer just sits in there, you can't really see it too well, but the numbers just tell you what it's possibly going to be. So that's pretty cool. You know, and again, this took me a lot longer than I thought. It's 6 o'clock, I started at 1:30. I had a few visitors, we kind of talked, took a little extra time. I ran out of propane, had to run to the store and get a new tank. But, you know, stuff happens. You could take half this time, but I put a lot of care because I really think if you take the extra time, your beer turns out, 4 times as good. So yeah, that's brewing in a nutshell, recorded on an iPhone, and hopefully I can do a better brewing session a different time with a regular camera. But I think it's a good start. So yeah, hopefully this helps somebody or inspires you or whatever, Again, it's a cream ale. Looking for a 1040, got a 1050. That's great. It's always better to be over. And yeah, we'll see how it tastes. Alright, so this is less than 24 hours. We have good significant activity. Normally I don't use these kind, but I was out because I have all my other beers going on here. Another one in the fridge outside. I usually use those S airlocks like that, just because I like to see where the pressure is. If you can see, you can tell there's more pressure in there than there is outside. But this works, at least for primary. Yeah. Alright, it is December 10th. This is our cream ale. We're about to put it into secondary. So I have a clean 6-gallon carboy. It's my 5 gallons currently being used for a lager. Yeah. So, as we'd expect, here's our cream ale. Still a little chunky. Doesn't have as much carousel on it as I would figure, but alright, so basically take the lid off and take this guy, put him in, pump it a couple times, and then put our tube in here as low as possible. This has also been sanitized so we don't introduce oxygen or oxidize it. Let's take this guy, kind of put him in at an angle. It's hard for me to video this because I only have one hand here. And we'll pump a couple times until we have a nice flow. There we do. And it's filling up the carboy. Sorry about that. Alright. Pretty good color. Of course, we want to keep this off the bottom. It'll pick up all that gump and chunks and nasty crap. Alright, so she's just straight chilling right now. If this was secondary, I'd probably run it through a strainer down here into my bottling bucket if there were still chunks. Every once in a while there's still some. Could be hot break, could be just shit. But yeah, so that's pretty much all it takes to transfer to secondary.